Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. Wow, fans are seem none too happy with the current regime up there, particularly Kevin Stefanski. Now, why is that? People think that Shedeur Sanders not getting a fair shake. Now, again, he was a fifth-round pick. He never was going to get the same amount of reps as everybody else. That's just not the way it works in the NFL. However, I do have to say, when you look at the totality of Dillon Gabriel right now, I got to tell you, Shedeur's getting some of his reps.
It started like any other Browns training camp morning. Gatorade, clipboard, light trash talk. But then Shedeur Sanders showed up like he was late for a Heisman ceremony and needed to remind everyone why he's that guy. By noon, Dillon Gabriel looked like he was auditioning for the practice squad. What happened between the lines? Let's just say, Shedeur didn't dominate. He evicted him. Stick around. This one's brutal, hilarious, and absolutely unforgettable.
Round pick that they're basically giving first round reps to, first team reps to, and he's struggling. He's a third round pick for a reason, and he's struggling, Nick. It's disjointing practice a little bit from my perspective because they're not completing a lot of passes. They're not moving the football in the fashion that I feel they should be at this point in practice. You know, I know Kevin Stefanski talked the other day. They're still doing installs, this, that, and the other. Look, they've been doing installs since the spring, and one of the things that is a strength for Dillon Gabriel is the mental side, the football acumen, right?
It was supposed to be another low-drama day at Browns training camp. You know the drill. Sun peeking over the bleachers, sleepy-eyed rookies jogging laps, coaches sipping burnt coffee while pretending to care about clipboard metrics. Nothing too serious. Just another day of NFL hopefuls fighting for a whisper of a chance.
I completely disagree with this comment. For starters, there was much more talent on the Oregon squad to lead them to undefeated. 5 people other than Dillon Gabriel were drafted this year from the Ducks. 2 tackles, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 1 receiver. Colorado had 3 other people go. All 3 Buffaloes drafted were receivers. Whose job is it to give the receivers the opportunity to catch the ball to get the stats? The quarterback. 2 of those 3 receivers wouldn't have been drafted if it weren't for Shedeur, Travis Hunter being the only exception. Shedeur Sanders was sacked 39 times this year. Now, you can blame that to him holding the ball for too long, but the O-line statistically ranked way worse than Oregon's.
Then Shedeur Sanders walked in. Not strolled, walked. With purpose, like a man who already knew the plot twist before the director yelled action. Like he wasn't just attending camp, he was here to run it. Because somewhere between the Gatorade cooler and the 7-on-7s, the entire atmosphere shifted. Suddenly, it wasn't just another day, it was Shedeur Sanders Day, and every quarterback within a 20-yard radius instantly felt their knees get a little wobbly.
And while that, for me, is factually correct, it's also unfair that I'm having to do that, because they have put this kid in that position for me to have to evaluate him like he's a first-round pick or a candidate start, which, oh, by the way, Jimmy Haslam told us when we spoke to him last week, the days blend together, when he and D. Haslam talked, he mentioned how we need to see the rookies this year.
Right.
So you're clearly preparing us to suffer through Dillon Gabriel starting football games this year.
Well, and just like, even if Jimmy didn't say that, right? Just being around this team for the last decade, you understand that that's how things usually go.
At the center of this seismic shift was Dillon Gabriel, who, until then, had been one of the names cautiously thrown around by fans still in denial about depth chart reality. He was supposed to be the scrappy underdog backup with potential, emphasis on supposed to. Because once the ball was snapped, it became painfully obvious. Dillon brought a playbook. Shedeur brought a flamethrower.
Now, and why is that? Because, look, I understand it's against a lot of 2s and 3s, but I would make sure I see what Sanders has got against the 1s. And it's getting to the point where the numbers are sort of overwhelming. They are. Now, Flacco, look, I don't give a shit about Flacco's completion percentage. I do care about Gabriel's. Being a rookie, I do. But we know Flacco knows this offense inside and out, and he gets it. All right?
Let's rewind for a second. The Browns quarterback room isn't exactly a VIP section at the moment. Deshaun Watson may have the starting spot nailed down, but that clipboard-holding, next-man-up chair, that's still wide open. And when there's blood in the water, the rookies swim fast. Both Shedeur and Dillon know this isn't college anymore. There are no charity reps, no bonus snaps for being a nice guy. Every throw is a test. Every drive is a job interview with 200 cameras and zero forgiveness. On paper, it was an even matchup. Dillon Gabriel, the stat padding machine from Oklahoma, came in with a decent arm, polished mechanics, and all the media-trained blandness of a quarterback-shaped mannequin. Efficient, methodical, probably irons his socks. Then there's Shedeur, the walking embodiment of controlled chaos, swagger with a silencer. The only rookie who calls audibles and life advice at the line of scrimmage. Where Dillon gave you PowerPoint presentations, Shedeur gave you fireworks. Day 8 began like any other, but it didn't stay that way. Early drills had some folks yawning. Then, Shedeur dropped back on his first snap and casually threaded a laser between two defenders, like he was threading a needle blindfolded, with his left hand, while solving a Rubik's Cube. The sideline didn't just cheer, they stopped breathing. Even the camera guy flinched.
Shedeur didn't fall. He was pushed with a vengeance. That's what I'm talking about. He been showing up and showing out. He been working. Know what I'm saying? Keeping quiet. You hear me? Getting his hands dirty. Unlike Dillon Gabriel playing Fortnite, playing on Call of Duty, you hear me? Instead of focusing on the main goal, the big picture, you hear me? I'm talking about studying these offensive installs. That way you can be ahead of the game. But unfortunately, you are not that good anyway, Mr. I did 12 years in college.
One play later, same story, different target. Only this time, the pass had such ridiculous touch, it looked like the ball was GPS tracked to the receiver's fingertips. By the time he was done with his first series, Shedeur had turned a routine drill into a viral mixtape. The cornerback started arguing with the wind. The safeties started praying. And Dillon? Well, Dillon was also there, technically. He completed a few passes, sure. But completing passes in the NFL is like showing up to a party with a balloon. Cute effort. Nobody's impressed. Gabriel looked hesitant, indecisive, and at one point managed to overthrow a guy doing a comeback route like he was auditioning for a punter's job. At least the sideline caught the ball. Small victories. Shedeur, meanwhile, was performing a quarterback masterclass. You could see it in how he commanded the huddle. No fluff, no panic. Just calm, calculated leadership with a side of "try me." Every adjustment he made at the line actually worked. When a linebacker tried to blitz, Shedeur didn't flinch. He shifted protection, snapped the ball, and burned the defense with a throw so crisp it should have come with its own sound effect. The difference was jarring. Dillon looked like he was trying to find himself. Shedeur looked like he already built a brand. And by the time team drills hit their peak, the Browns coaching staff started exchanging glances.
You got a guy that I believe could be a franchise quarterback. If you ask anybody in the league, and you ask scouts, and you ask all the other people, they say, out of these four, who has the best chance to be a franchise quarterback? I'd be willing to wager more than 50% of those people will say Shedeur Sanders, even though he was taken in the 5th round pick. So to me, he showed me nothing in camp as I watch him live that gives me any limitations towards his skill set. He's been wildly accurate. He's been doing whatever he needs to do to learn the playbook. And I do believe that you'll see in the preseason that.
You know the look, the kind you give when your backup plan starts looking like the real deal and your other backup looks like an NFT investment. And it wasn't just the throws. Shedeur used his legs too, not in a panicked, "oh no, I'm gonna die" way like some rookies. He used them like weapons. One rollout to the left, flicked a throw mid-sprint across his body to a tight window 25 yards downfield. Feet off the ground, balance like a gymnast, and accuracy like a Navy missile, all while smiling. Meanwhile, Dillon took a read option snap and somehow ended up 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and running into his own center. If Shedeur was filming highlights, Dillon was shooting a blooper reel. Let's talk leadership. One of Shedeur's lesser-known superpowers is presence, not just in interviews or pressers, but on the field. His teammates feed off him. After one touchdown toss in red zone drills, the entire offense surrounded him like they just won a playoff game. Dillon threw a TD later too, and one lineman offered him a high five. He missed, but this isn't about being flashy for the sake of flash. What made Shedeur's day stand out was how composed he looked doing it all. The NFL is built to expose panic. Shedeur looked like he was still in Boulder playing flag football for warm-ups. No wasted motion, no happy feet, no desperation, just execution and swagger.
Gabriel is again getting a lot of the work with the team drills. After being like 3 for 11, 3 for 12 yesterday, after a horde practice, getting more work, more opportunities. This is after Flacco and him getting a boatload of work and not much sign of Flacco as you roll back down here. Not much sign of Shedeur getting opportunities. Like starting off with Flacco with the first team offense, which makes sense, but Gabriel stepped back in and led the third offense. You're hearing that. But we come back up to this tweet here. Dillon Gabriel is again getting a lot of work. getting a lot of the touches. So my perspective here is that Flacco and Gabriel's getting a lot of the work, and that's what we're getting. And then Gabriel being Horde. Watch this.
Let's not forget, this isn't some spring scrimmage. This is NFL camp. Everyone's watching. Coaches, scouts, media, players. One bad rep follows you for weeks. One great one, it can get you a seat at the grown-up table. And on day 8, Shedeur basically walked into the team cafeteria and said, "This is my table now." There's a saying in football, some players survive camp and others take it over. Guess which column Shedeur's filing himself under? There was no hesitation, no nervous checkdowns, no deer in headlights panic. Just a guy who knew exactly where he wanted the ball to go and delivered it with assassin-level precision. Contrast that with Dillon Gabriel, who looked like he was asking the field for permission before throwing. Every drop back was a mini crisis. His timing was off, reads were delayed, and the confidence just wasn't there. He didn't look terrible. He looked forgettable. And in the NFL, that's worse. It wasn't just about who threw the prettiest spiral. It was about who owned the moment. And Shedeur owned every square inch of day 8, like he bought the turf. Even the defense started side-eyeing the scoreboard like, okay, this kid might be a problem.
A Cleveland Browns reporter who attended rookie minicamp was asked who throws the ball better between Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, and he said, "It's not even close. It's Shedeur Sanders." Are y'all surprised? I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like a big chunk of people knew that Shedeur Sanders throws the ball better than Dillon Gabriel. That's why a lot of people were surprised when the Browns drafted Dillon Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders, and that's why a lot of people were even more surprised that Shedeur Sanders fell that far in the draft to begin with. At this point, I think Joe Flacco is probably going to be QB1 in Cleveland, but QB2 and 3 is going to be between Kenny and probably Shedeur. And that's not to say Dillon Gabriel is a bad quarterback or anything, but Shedeur Sanders was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football.
Let's talk ripple effects, because performances like this, they matter. Even if it doesn't rocket Shedeur up the depth chart overnight, it shifts the energy. Suddenly, his name isn't just floating around in speculation. It's being whispered in coaching rooms. It's getting circled in notebooks. It's being compared to the guy who didn't light it up. That guy, by the way, is Dillon Gabriel, whose stock after day 8 was somewhere between expired yogurt and Blockbuster memberships. It's not personal, it's just the NFL. And when you go head-to-head in the same drills, same defense, same reps, and one guy looks like he's prepping for a Super Bowl while the other looks like he's submitting a group project late, yeah, people notice. The scary part? Shedeur didn't even look like he was pressing. This wasn't desperation. This was confidence. A dude who knows the window is small and the moment is loud and decided to drown out the noise with completions. He read the defense like it owed him money. Blitz coming? No problem. Tight coverage? Let me tighten this spiral. Safety lurking? How about a pump fake and a bullet over the middle? This wasn't a rookie making noise. This was a rookie making statements.
My concern for Shedeur is don't look so much at Flacco and Pickett that you don't even clear the opening height of Dillon Gabriel. Because make no mistake, I do not believe that Dillon Gabriel is better than Shedeur.
Most people.
No doubt about it.
Don't matter what we think.
But what the hell y'all think Dillon Gabriel doing, y'all? He ain't no slouch.
He's working.
He ain't no bum either.
Yeah.
Like, with all due respect, he played quarterback in college. Give him his credit. With all due respect, he got drafted. Give him his credit. With all due respect, he wasn't All-American this year. Give him his credit. With all due respect, he was a Big Ten player.
Now, let's be real. One great practice doesn't win you a roster spot, but it does something more important. It gives coaches a reason to pay attention. And fans? Fans love a storyline. Shedeur's not just a quarterback. He's a story waiting to be written in capital letters. Legacy kid, chip on his shoulder, cool under pressure, dominating camp while the other guy fumbles his spotlight. By the end of practice, it wasn't just teammates buzzing. Reporters were scribbling. Staffers were whispering. One assistant coach nearly dropped his playbook, watching Shedeur sidearm a throw across the field like he was recreating a Mahomes TikTok. Meanwhile, Dillon was last seen asking if the play was supposed to go left or right. Doesn't matter. The throw went nowhere. The most telling moment? After practice wrapped, players started walking off the field. Shedeur got stopped 3 times, once by a DB complimenting his reads, once by a coach reviewing a throw, and once by a random intern who just wanted a selfie. Dillon? He walked off alone. Which kind of summed up the day. What made Shedeur shine wasn't just the arm, it was the aura.
I have a PhD in quarterback observation. Trust me. He's the best quarterback in the room. I have a PhD in quarterbacking. And I say it here loud and clear. Nobody knows quarterback play like me. I don't give a damn what nobody say, because I done played with a bunch of them.
14.
He's better than Dillon Gabriel. He's better than Kenny Pickett. He's better than an old Joe Flacco that's going to give you 3-4 games but can't give you 17. He's better than that.
That's a valid point.
And Deshaun Watson is, he's rehabbing, so he's out in the back room somewhere. That's the way I look at it.
You can literally see his brain calculating in real time. coverage rotations, linebacker stunts, which DB just blinked too long. It's like watching Iron Man run diagnostics mid-play, except instead of missiles, he's launching perfectly placed missiles disguised as footballs. And the best part? He does it all with the kind of confidence that doesn't scream, it glides. His pre-snap command is veteran tier. He's motioning guys, identifying blitz packages, killing plays before disaster strikes. And when he makes that throw, that release is ruthless. Quick as a hiccup, tighter than a TSA Ziploc bag, and spinning like it's headed for a physics lab. One pass was so smooth, a coach allegedly turned to the intern and said, "That ball just filed taxes and still hit the slant." The man's got touch, heat, and an internal compass for chaos. And somehow, every time he walks into the huddle, the vibe shifts. Guys straighten up, listen in, and actually believe something real is about to happen. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel found out the hard way that college stats mean nothing when you're sharing turf with a guy who treats the field like a Broadway stage. Gabriel had his moments, short throws, clean footwork, but when the heat turned up, his confidence turned into a screensaver.
Here we got it, man. Shedeur Sanders has made his way to minicamp, and for some reason, I keep hearing that he's quarterback number 4. Y'all better get it together, dog, because just look at this connection, dog, and look how smooth it is, dog. Check that out, man. It's a star quarterback right there in my eyes. And I mean, there's no hate against Dillon Gabriel. I mean, just look at this. They threw it to the same wide receiver, and guess who looks better? Shedeur Sanders. Not gonna lie to you, it's no glaze, none of that. I'm just keeping it real with you, dog. They can't have these two quarterbacks going in with two veteran quarterbacks there, dog. One gonna have to go, and it ain't gonna be Shedeur. Straight up. But I see you, Dillon. But it ain't better than Shedeur rep. I ain't gonna lie to you. But here we got it. Another rep of Shedeur Sanders. Apparently QB4 is getting all the media attention than all the other quarterbacks, because guess what? He's the starting quarterback, dog. You want to know what he said? Legendary.
That quick twitch panic where the eyes start darting, the pocket starts shrinking, and the ball's on a mystery tour to no man's land. One misread, one badly timed hesitation. That's all it took for coaches and teammates to start side-eyeing each other like, is he good? And the NFL? Oh, it doesn't do sympathy, especially not in a quarterback room that's already jammed. Okay, gets you nowhere. Promising gets you cut. And Dillon's stock? It fell faster than a crypto coin after a Musk tweet about Dogecoin's spirit animal. By the end of Camp Day 8, Shedeur had film. Dillon had flashbacks. But here's the kicker. Shedeur doesn't need to start right now to make noise. He's already on the radar. This isn't just Deion's kid anymore. This is a player building a brand on his own merit. NFL teams are watching. Front office group chats have his name typed in bold. He's calm, composed, cocky in the best way. And most importantly, prepared. His confidence isn't a show. It's a result of thousands of reps and zero shortcuts. And fans? They can feel it. One camp day in August, and already people are whispering, are we watching the rise of the next NFL superstar? Because make no mistake, if this camp was a movie, Shedeur wasn't just the star. He was the writer, the director, and the guy who handed Dillon Gabriel his script, right before tossing it in the Gatorade cooler.
I want to start with the struggles of Dillon Gabriel. What's your thoughts on how he struggled as of late with the reps that he's been given?
Time will tell. And I think I'm ready to see Friday's game versus the Panthers. Right? Because when you look at practice, defense always comes faster than offense. That's just how it goes. So I expected, especially the rookies, to struggle a little bit in training camp, especially after the defense figures out what the offense does. They know their plays. They know everything is similar. Don't get the same guys all the time. But at the same time, this is your guy you drafted third round. And you expected certain expectations from him and certain standards from him. And I think this week was a big week where he kind of struggled and didn't live up to that. So preseason games will tell us everything.
So what now? Shedeur Sanders isn't demanding the job. He's just making it really awkward for anyone trying to give it to someone else. He doesn't need to talk big, his arm's doing the PR, and the scary truth for every quarterback in that locker room, he's just getting warmed up. Dillon Gabriel might bounce back. He has tools, he has a resume, but on day 8, he didn't have it. Not the presence, not the pop, not the magic. And in a camp that demands greatness daily, that might already be enough to seal his fate. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders walked in like a rookie and left looking like a prophecy. A walking, talking, touchdown-hurling reminder that some quarterbacks wait for opportunities and others snatch them midair and hit the end zone in stride. Day 8 wasn't just a good day for Shedeur, it was a warning. To the rest of the depth chart, playtime's over.